anything, you can ask me. If you have any doubts regarding the previous stuff, I have already shared you the document too. If anyone of you have any doubts, just let me know. We shall discuss those things and we shall continue. So I believe you guys have understand. You guys have understood. You guys understood about what is a web application, what is website, web page, all those things. Are you aware of now? Now you are aware of those things. Yes. Answer in chat or at least unmute yourself and talk. Okay. I want you to guys. I want you guys to talk actually. No doubts. Good. Nice. So I believe everyone are able to understand website, web page, web application, what is meant by whole domain name, what is meant by hosting, what is meant by client side, what is meant by server side, what is the role of browser. I believe this document would help you in understanding those things well. Okay. So now actually the next thing which so as of now, I believe for to develop an application, everyone everyone understood that we need three things: front end, back end, another thing data. Okay, so in front end, we have been learning few things like to develop an application, and particularly in a front end layer, you need to learn about HTML, CSS, JavaScript that I already explained you previously. So to start understanding and to start learning building a front-end application, you need to start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The very first thing you need to understand actually why these are necessarily used in web development. Okay, so you might ask me a question something like, so why only HTML is used for web development? Why not Java? Why not Python? All those things. You might have that question. Okay, for that question, first you need to understand actually what is an HTML and what is the architecture of HTML and how it actually does used in front end. Okay, so you need to understand those things first. Okay, so in today's session, I shall make you understand. I shall take you along the HTML. So it's sort of like you'll be seeing some basics of HTML and with HTML what you are going to do and what is the purpose of HTML in website development. So and why it is used and who used it for the first time, and what is the architecture behind HTML and how HTML is utilized in website development. Those things I'll be trying to I'll try to make you understand those things. So before that, if anyone have any doubts before sessions or any document understanding, I would help you in understanding those things. If you have any doubts, just let me know. Or else, if there is no doubts, we shall go with the next today's topic. So I believe no one has any doubts. Am I right? Okay. If that is the case, now let's jump into today's session. So understanding the HTML basics. Okay. So now listen to things very clearly. To understand a technology, you need to be so whenever you are working with any technology. So it's sort of like I want to give you first this introduction. Okay. So when you are clear about introduction, the technology which you are learning would be very much easier to learn actually. Okay, see, take any technology. It's not only the technology which you are learning now is HTML. Okay, it's not only HTML, JavaScript, CSS, Python, Java, whatever the things you take. There are three levels. There will be three levels. Okay, three levels of understanding the technology: L1 level, L2 level. This is just generic, but it could be vary according to technology. So L1 would be basics. Under basics and architecture, see, you want to understand basics and architecture. Okay, architecture. Okay, architecture. Okay, first thing, whenever you start with the technology, whatever the technology you are learning, it might be HTML, it might be CSS, it might be JavaScript, it might be Java, it might be Python. The first thing, you want to focus on the basics. very basics, very basics. Okay, then after understanding the basics, then you want to understand the things L2 is something like intermediate concepts. So intermediate concepts, and these concepts are something which are necessarily used for making your application, just making your application, just I mean designing. Sorry, someone messaged, can you make the screen to full size? What do you mean by full size? Wait a second. So what is full size? Full size, where I can make it full size. So I'm sharing my whole screen. It's not visible. Actually, I'm sharing my whole screen. It is not visible to you. Can
Yes,
anyone
bro.
confirm?
Very dull and very small in size. Maybe it is the
Very
same for others, I don't know, but for me it like very small in size.
okay. Can anyone confirm other persons? Can anyone confirm me that you're able to see only some part of my screen or complete? Guys, answer please. Harsha has something. He is saying something like he cannot see fully. Can
Yeah,
anyone
for
I
confirm?
it's the same
probably
for me too.
connected
You
and connected.
okay. Wait a second. Let me stop sharing and I'll start sharing. Share entire screen. Mm. So now what you are actually seeing? My complete desktop you could able to see.
Yeah, desktop now it is visible.
Now can you able to see my to see the document which I am
Now,
sharing?
now it is visible.
Okay, fine. So the L2 level is something that intermediate concepts which are required to develop application, which are required to develop application. Okay, develop application. Okay, develop application. And L3 is a level. This is something like expert level where you will be using you will be using concepts to optimize the application. Okay, to optimize the application, just remember three things only. So you have something to be learn: basics and architecture, concepts required to develop application, and concepts required to optimize the application to give maximum performance. So whatever the technology you take, this is the core principle which you need to understand while you are learning any technology. Whenever you try to learn any technology, you just focus on these things. If you focus on these things, you would be easily able to understand the technology, and you will be easily able to use the technology in developing any sort of application. Okay, it's not about only front end application, it's not about front end. You take example of anything, back end, DevOps, everything. You just very much comfortable with learning these things, L1, L2, L3. Then this could give you a perfect understanding of technology. Okay, so that's I want you to understand. That's why I just bring this concept here. So in this today's session, I will be discussing all the basics which are required for understanding the HTML first. Okay, first you need to understand the HTML. Then we will be using then we will code actually with the help of HTML. Remember the thing, if you understand the basics very well, it's very much easier to understand what I am writing here. Okay, what I am writing on the Visual Studio Code, or what I code actually, it will be very much comfortable when you understand the basics and concepts. So I would request everyone, each and everyone, if you have any doubts regarding basics or architecture, just you can stop me right away and you can ask me there itself. So what it actually doing, what is the purpose? So you could ask me that questions. Okay, so because if you are clear with that thing, then you will be able to understand the code which I will be writing later. That is the thing. Okay, so the second thing is level 2, which is the HTML basics. Actually, I was saying something like I was saying something previously. I was saying something that so to bring an application to bring a physical business a physical business a physical business to online, we need application. Okay, for developing application for developing application for developing application, we are learning we are learning front end. See the path, observe the path, then okay, what is this spelling mistake? For developing application, we are learning front end now. Okay, front end. In front end, there are many aspects. You are learning now HTML. Okay, for what purpose you are trying to learn HTML? So for what purpose? So my question, I already stated some statements here. I want you to answer for what purpose you are trying to learn the HTML. So what is your motive actually? Are you able to understand why you are learning front end here? So what is the purpose of you? What is the purpose of your learning? Why you are learning that one actually? Why you are learning front end actually? I want everyone to answer actually. First, you guys are very you are not even answering anything. I want you guys to participate in the chat or something like conversation. So I want you to I want everyone to answer. So for what purpose you are learning front end now? Front end. Why we need that front end actually? So what is our actual motive? I already gave answer. I already gave answer in my statements only. So now your turn to say me that what is your motive of learning front end? Why you are learning actually front end? So when you speak something, then only I could able to make you things clear, make the things clear. Okay. So if I point out anyone, they would not even speak. That's why I'm making. I'm just asking you yourself to unmute and just speak something, or else in chat also you can just message me what is the motive of learning front end. What is now why you are learning front end for a yeah, someone unmuted. Yeah, I want to hear from you.
This is Deepika.
Yeah.
Like as a front-end developer, we'll bring the like physical entity to virtual. Like for example, as a front-end developer, we'll be developing an interface and presenting it online on a web page so that everyone can access it. That is our main motive, I think.
Yeah, nice, good answer. Any other?
Uh, myself, Harsha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
sure.
the main skills are to develop, to build interactive and user-friendly websites and applications where user can easily accessible. Because what we develop only users can see, able to see. So
Hmm.
for that purpose, we use.
We are learning
So
front
we
end.
learn.
Yeah. So, Harsha and Deepika, I believe. Well, you guys, whatever you said is absolutely correct. So, our motive is to bring the physical business onto online. So, for bringing an online, for bringing the business into online, we need an application. For developing an application, we need to learn technologies. So, here is the case. You are learning front end just to represent a physical business onto online onto maybe online to make it as an online business. You are just learning a technology called front end to show to make users understand what actually the physical business is doing on online. Okay, so that's the thing. So that's our main motive. Those, so don't forget about that one. Our main motive is to bring the physical business into online. Okay, for bringing that to online, we need an application. For developing an application, we need three skills. One of the skill is front end, and we are trying to learn that front end. Okay, so now here is my another question. Okay, you are saying something that you are trying to bring the physical business to online business, to online. Okay, to online. So now physical business has something. Suppose take an example of supermarket. In supermarket, there are something called commodity appliances. Those all those things. Okay. Now you need to build. You need to bring that all those things to online to online. Actually, that's your target is to something represent the physical business on online, and maybe you need to design something on online that which actually depicts the physical business. Suppose, take an example, if you want to sell, if you take an example of Swiggy and Zomato. What Swiggy and Zomato are doing, they developed an application. In that application, you can able to order food items. Okay, here the food items like tiffins, dinner, lunch, all those things are known as a catalog, and they maintain a catalog that is actually displayed on their application. Okay, now let me show you few things. Take an example of Swiggy. Okay, I'm opening Swiggy. If you click here, Swiggy, you would be seeing something called Pizza Hut, Urban Cave, Healthy Bites. So these are something like restaurants, but what restaurants serve? Restaurants serves the food. Now, can anyone think of like you are seeing something top restaurants chains in some name, and you are seeing something like what's on your mind, and you are seeing something like an image and a title, an image and title, an image and title, an image and title, and you're seeing something like when you hover on, you are seeing some card, and you're seeing something title, and you're seeing something timing, and its ingredients. All these things actually in physical business, what they will maintain a menu. In that menu, you will find all these things like images and titles of that food and cost of that food. Now, to show in to represent and to picturize that menu which you are seeing in physically to online, we need to make use of some technology so that you can build up titles, you can build up images, you can build up some text, you can build up all the some animations, you can build up some what do you say that some animations, titles, images, and required information about the product, and all those things can be, there should be one technology behind which can do that, which can do that. So uh, when it comes to front end development, in front end development, you need to know, you need to understand how do you bring that physical business menu to online. So we as we see that to represent that menu on online, what you need to do, first you need to show some image, then you need to show some title, and you need to show that price for that particular food item, or something address of that restaurant, and also its ratings, its ingredients, all those things you need to show it on, you need to show it you need to show it online. So for that purpose, you need to learn, you need to utilize one technology. So one such technology is something called HTML. HTML is something that a technology which can make visual content and also text content, visual content and also text content. HTML has an ability to make visual content and text content. So you might be seeing something in YouTube, you will be seeing some content creators. What is this content creators? It's all about content, right? In YouTube you'd be seeing something like videos and all those things. uh, coming to apart from YouTube, to build websites or to build a web application, we need to make use of technology called HTML, where HTML can able to build a content, visual content and also text content. So first we need to understand what actually HTML. Then after understanding HTML, we will be seeing some in-depth concepts. So in the series, the first thing which you need to understand is what actually HTML. So HTML is something that something like a HTML stands for hypertext markup language, and you need to understand what is this hypertext and what is this markup. I already gave you an abbreviation about language, and also definition, so meaning of language, and also I also gave you meaning of markup. Now we are trying to understand what is actually hypertext. Okay, so first remember, it's a foundation language to create or structure the content on website, on web. Okay, so remember, HTML is a foundation language to create and structure content on the web. So this is something like a web to structure a content, to create a content. So first foundation language, the first language which you need to understand and learn is something called HTML. Okay, so then after HTML, you need to extend that structural language to work along with CSS and JavaScript. Okay, HTML would be working along with CSS and JavaScript to make an interactive websites and outstanding websites that which meets our business requirements. Okay, first thing, hypertext markup language. In the word only you could understand by things. It's sort of like a computer language. First thing, then markup is something like a presentation language. So now HTML belongs to language category, language category called presentation. So I already gave you glance about what actually presentation language is doing. Presentation language doesn't do anything which like logic or all those things. It is a language which is used for structuring the document. So now you could understand something called HTML is used for structuring the document. Nothing you are going to do logically. Logically, you are not going to do anything, but to structure a content. So here you would see something called a website has a logo, a nav bar, and a image, title, and a cards, and also something text which shows stop restaurant chains, restaurants. So you are making use of you'll be making use of HTML, and you'll be structuring this complete document. So you just think this as a document itself. Just think like a document. This is like a document, and it has all those things. Like in document, what you'll be having: index, next content, next inside that content you'll be seeing something, images, tables, everything, like everything you'll be seeing: images, tables, forms, all the things you will be present on the document. Just think like this is a document. This is a document. In this document, you are arranging everything as per your business. You're arranging everything. So that sort of thing is possible by HTML. Okay, this type of preparing a document or structuring the document, structuring the content on the document would be possible with the help of HTML. Now, simply we can say that HTML is a language that can present our content on the online on internet. So the first requirement is something that to bring the physical business onto online, what you need to do, you need to develop an application. In that application, an user needs to understand what that application is. So now you when you see this Swiggy website, you'd simply say that this is food ordering website. How can you say that? Because the interface which you are seeing in front of you, that makes you to understand, that makes you to make a word something that it's a food ordering website where we can order food. Okay, that's how you did it actually, how you identified it, because of the user interface which you are seeing. This user interface is going to develop by front-end developer. So for developing this type of interface, first you need to what you are trying to make use of HTML. So with the help of HTML, you are trying to place the content as per your business. Okay, so that's one thing. And next thing, you need to understand what so you understood markup and language. Something like markup is a presentation is something that you are presenting content, and how you are presenting content on web page with the help of HTML. So now you just think of hypertext. So what is this hypertext meaning? So it's just like a text. Text is something that a word or character or content. Just think of like it's a word, it's a character or a content. But what is meant by hyper? Hyper is something that beyond or something like more than usual. So when you say something that what's on you here, you could see something like what's on your mind. So it just behaves as a normal text. When you do something here, you are not you can only select this content, but when you try to click on it, you're not seeing anything. But see here, cakes. If you try to click on this one, or something like Baker's World, or something like Edel Hotel, Satkar. So when you try to, this is also text. And if you see something like sort by far, this is also text only, right? You're just seeing something. This text doesn't have anything, but when you try to click on this one, you're going to some page. When you're trying to click on text, you're going to some other page. And when you're trying to click on sort by, this is also deliver time. This is also some text. But what's happening? See, every time you click on something, some action is happening. So this is also normal text, but this text has some additional feature, additional ability, that it can appear as a link. So now you click on something, it is going for some other place. It is going for some other place. It's loading something. When you click on something like offers, you're going to see different page. So how this is happening? This is also normal text only. This is also normal text only, and this is also normal text only. But this text doesn't have anything extra ability. But this text has an ability. When you click on it, you're going. It's actually taking you to another page. It's sort of like this type of text is known as a text with a extra ability. So hypertext is something that the text which has extra abilities beyond what you think, beyond what you can actually make. With actually the text is something that words or characters or content, but you are making the text to behave, or you are giving some abilities to the text that which can perform some other activities which are not, which cannot perform, which cannot be performed by normal word or normal character or normal content. Okay, that is known as a hypertext. Now hypertext is something that a text which can perform the which can perform an actions which a normal text cannot perform. Okay, so that type of text is known as a hypertext. Okay, now when you say that HTML, it's a hypertext markup language. That means that HTML consists of text and a normal text, and a text that can perform some actions which a normal text cannot perform. Okay, it's sort of like, you can say it is hyperlinks. Remember my remember the definition, not don't remember the definition, but understand the definition. It's sort of like hypertext language markup. HTML is a language that actually have text and other text, the other text which has some ability where the normal text cannot perform. So those type of text also can be included under hypertext. That is why we are calling this as a hypertext markup language, because it's sort of like we are not only including normal text, but we are including some text which has some abilities than normal text. Okay, that is actually the meaning of hypertext. You can see something like text plus links that can jump to between, that can jump but between pages. So this is known as a hypertext. And markup, I already explained you something called markup. Markup is something like you're preparing your content. You're preparing your content for presentation. So in this term here, presentation is something that you could see here, baker world. When you see this baker world, this is a normal text. And when you see this baker ice cream, this is also normal, a text. When you see this outlet, this is also some text. When you see the deals for you, but have you observed, we observe the sizes and size and appearance of the text. When you see this baker vote, it appears as a different font and different size, and also different what do you say, that different weight, font weight. When you see this one, this has different weight, and when you see this one has different weight, and when you see this one has different weight, and this text has different color, this text is different color, and this text has different color. So now think of like markup. Markup is something that you are here showing heading, here you're showing paragraph, and those type. So this is something like, markup is something that a set of symbols or codes that are called tags. Tags placed inside text document to it. Okay, what it mean actually? You can justly simply understand. This is heading. Is here, right? This is heading and this is paragraph. Now see this normal text. This normal text is wrapped with some another text which appear which maybe some of you might have already worked with HTML, but those who haven't worked with HTML, see, this is a normal text which is wrapped up with some text which is not as a normal text. Now what do we call this one, and why do we use this one? So these things we are wrapping up the normal text with the text which is not looks like as normal text. And these text which are wrapping up the normal text are called as tags. And these tags are something that which is utilized to mark up, to present your content. So something like, when you use this particular h1 tag, you would be calling this as a h1 tag, and this is actually what it does. So when you write something h1, then inside the as I written like this, and when you include the content inside this one,
and after that you'd be doing something like including another h1 tag with a with backslash. Then this whole thing is considered as a heading element. And how, what actual, if you write this one in Visual Studio Code, and when you try to render this on browser, the browser would understand the text which you are the text which you have written is something like a heading text. It's not a normal paragraph text based on the tags which you are wrapping up. So you are wrapping up with h1 tag. So this heading, this content would be rendered as a heading tag. And when you try to see this the next example, this is like a paragraph text. This is like a paragraph, and you wrapped up with a text which is not a normal text, but this time you are using p tag. Instead of h1 you are using p. Now when you try to see this one, the rendering of both the things, this would be something like it will appear as a h1 tag, h1 bold, in a bold. And when you see this paragraph text, it will appear as something like this. Now this difference in appearance and this difference in presentation would be known is known as a markup. And markup can be obtained, markup can be achieved with the help of tags. And don't worry, you would be learning about what is this tag and how do you write a tag, and what is the purpose of tag, and all those things I would be telling you. But remember one thing, hypertext is something called a text beyond what you are using, and a markup is something that you are making use, you are presenting the text with the help of tags in multiple ways. Like when you try to present a heading, you need to use some other tag. When you try to present a paragraph, you need to use some other tag. Here you could see something called in Swiggy website, you could able to see all the things. See, this is an heading, this is a normal text, this is a link text, and you see this is a image, this is a visual content, and you see something called this is a badge which has something called, and you are seeing something like a drop down. So I will let you understand this one. So Swiggy, you are seeing something like a website, you are seeing some Swiggy website, right? Swiggy web application. In this web application, you are using almost all those things which are present in the HTML, like headings, paragraphs, and also something images, and also forms, and also tables, cards. All those things are utilized in building a web application. So you remember something, that depending on the application requirement, you need to get the concepts. Maybe what HTML can do, and how many things HTML can actually do. All those things we'll be discussing in head classes. But for now, you understand hypertext is something that normal text, and a link and a text which normal text cannot be performed. That thing. And markup is something that you are preparing the text with extra with the tags. Actually, you are preparing the text with the tags actually. So to show a heading, you need to use a different text, different tag, and to show a paragraph, you need to use a different tag. So I will be saying you about what all these tags and what all these elements are available in HTML that actually makes your work easier. Okay. So now simply we can say that HTML is a language that uses markup. HTML is a language that uses markup. Markup is nothing but a tags to structure and display the hypertext, linked and connected content. It's sort of like I just made this they made this definition based on our previous discussion. So what we did actually, so you can remember when you see this definition, you could easily understand what it is actually. HTML is a language, that's very pretty sure, that uses markup. Markup is nothing but tags. For what purpose you are using the tags? To structure and display the hypertext content on the web. Hypertext is something that which has normal text and some text which is not appearing as a normal text. Okay. Now I believe this definition makes sense. Okay. Now finally, what you are trying to do? You are trying to utilize HTML to build and display the content only, right? So this is our first requirement which we have fulfilled. Okay. When you are trying to make physical business into onto online, the first thing you are trying to do, what you need to do means you need to prepare an application. The first phase of application is front-end development. Front-end development is nothing but you are deciding what you need to display, what you need to do, you are supposed to build and display the content which is required for user to understand what actually the business is. Okay, now the first thing, HTML is a foundation language to display this type of content. So to build and display content. Okay, this is a small intro about HTML, what actually HTML is. HTML and meaning of particularly abbreviation of HTML, and what actually hypertext mean, and what actually markup language we mean, and also why we will be using HTML, and for what purpose HTML is used, and how we are using HTML, and how what all things you will be right, how do you configure, how do you write the HTML code. Those all those things we'll be learning in a head of sessions. But for now, you understand HTML is language that uses markup to present the content on web. Okay, now when you see that, I already said you right, for the first time who used HTML and why we need HTML only for web development. Okay, so first remember, this guy Tim Berners-Lee is a person who actually, I should not say discovered or invented, but it's better. He proposed a language called markup language. He proposed, it's not something like HTML first. The name of the HTML is not HTML language is not not HTML first. Actually, was created by Tim Berners-Lee. This guy, what his requirement is something that he need to share a document over internet. Okay, his simple requirement, he need to share a document over internet. So he has something called a document like this, and he need to share it over internet. That is his requirement. So what he did means, on the document he has some content. That content needs to be shared over internet. So he's just think of the things. Actually, someone will be saying something. Innovation is something like key innovation. I don't know. I'm not getting that idiom or proverb, but it is something that the requirement which you have leads to an innovation. The requirement which you have leads to an innovation. Something like Tim Berners-Lee, at that time, his requirement is to share the information over internet. So he has some document. That document has some content. That content need to be shared over internet. For that thing, he have first proposed a language called he has proposed the first initial version of HTML, that is known as SGML. It's not the first thing is not HTML, it's an SGML, standard generalized markup language. Okay, this is actually a markup language, presentation language, that is before HTML. So at that moment, actually, for the first time, Tim Berners-Lee what Lee used means, he used 18 tags, set of simple 18 tags, like title tag, paragraph tag, like a tag, div tag, h1 tag, those tags. And he prepared his document. He structured his document, and he just proposed the document over internet, shared the document over internet. Okay, so Tim Berners-Lee is something. He is the guy who have discovered or who proposed the first HTML. In first HTML, you would be seeing only 18 tags. 18 tags. Tags are nothing but this one. I already said you right. Tags are nothing but this one. Only the first version of HTML has only these tags, 18 tags. Okay. And what happens in 1991? He did that one. And 1993, actually, in 1993 year, IETF, Internet Engineering Task Force, is something like a it's something like in internet there will be some big entity, right? That big entity is something called Internet Engineering Task Force. What they have done means, they actually do some formalize this HTML. They actually in HTML they have initially we have 18 tags, right? They have included some other things, and they have formalized that HTML as internet standard. Okay, so then this IETF first time used HTML, declared HTML as an internet standard. Now, what do you mean by internet standard? Internet standard is something that now what we are learning, foundation is, right? That is what internet standard. So at that time, 1993, IETF declared this HTML as a standard way of writing markup language, standard way of standard way for markup. So next after 1993, in the year of 2004 and 2008, what they will the IETF left this HTML. IETF left this HTML. Then who acquired this one was WhatWG. WhatWG is something that which acquired this. We should not say acquired, but who is who take care of something. WhatWG is something that who takes care of this HTML. Initially, IETF takes care of HTML. Then in the year 2004, between 2004 to 2008, who takes care of HTML is something that WhatWG. WhatWG is a society which take care of this HTML, and they have provided many things, not only tags, not only something. They have provided many things like they included tags, they included images, they included forms, they included multimedia support, and they have started before this. See, before in between 1993 and 2004, there are several versions got into picture, like HTML1, HTML2, HTML3, HTML4, all those things. Finally, when it comes to hands of WhatWG, the version is something which we are the HTML5 is the version which came into existence. Before there are HTML1, 2, 3, 4. Versioning is something that whenever you added any new feature for a technology or something like an application, you need to change its version. So initially it is with 18 tags. If someone have added one more tag, or if someone have added any other feature, then the HTML would be getting in would get into versioning. Versioning is something that the HTML initially it would be called as HTML. Then after inclusion of any extra feature, that would be called as HTML 1.0, then HTML 2.0, then HTML 3.0, then HTML 4.0. Likely in the year of between the year of 2004 and 2008, WhatWG is something that which is taking care of HTML, and they have released a version called HTML5. And HTML5 is something more flexible, and as I said that it has a support of support. Initially it HTML supports only text and link text, but after that they have provided something called multimedia support. Multimedia support something that where we can create a visual content, images, videos, all the content can be created with HTML5. Okay. Then in the year of 2014, HTML5 was officially released. They have introduced many things like semantic elements like header, footer, article, multimedia like video, audio, canvas for graphics, and all the modern content can be built by using HTML5. Now HTML5 is something is in a place where you can build any type of content. It might be a text content, it might be visual content, it might be a link content, it might be a button content, it might be a table, it might be a form, it might be anything. Whatever the so take an example of document. In document, whatever the docs, Word document. In Word document, whatever the things you can create, all those things can be created by using HTML. Okay, that is where in 2014 HTML5 started supporting all those things, and HTML5 evolved as a living standard for markup. It means that for when it comes to markup language, everyone will point only one thing: HTML. So HTML became a standard for markup language. That is why HTML is being widely used by many applications to present their content in the form of application. Okay, that is the reason behind evolution of HTML from HTML to HTML5, and who maintained is WhatWG is maintaining, and the updates are incremental. It seems that every day, every year you will be seeing an HTML has something got included into it. Okay, now it is the place where HTML can do anything, like it can present any sort of content which is required for your business. That is, and it's very much flexible, and it is very much adaptable for each and every browser. That is the main reason big companies like Swiggy, you could see something like Swiggy. You could when you try to go to developer tools, you would be seeing something doc type HTML. They are using HTML. And if you see something Zomato, and even very big companies, any companies whichever you can say, and if they have online presence, they would be using HTML only because HTML became a standard for preparing markup. Okay, that is actually why HTML is needed for development. Means it's a foundation of web pages. It's a universal standard because it's supported by all browser, and it can also integrated with anything CSS and JavaScript for interactivity. Okay, so I already said you our motive is to bring physical business to online business, and it's sort of like a building a content on the internet. So we need to ensure that we need to ensure that we are learning HTML because our motive is to bring physical business to online. So the bringing of physical business to online can be possible by an application, and application needs an UI where user needs to understand the business. So for preparing that UI and for developing that UI, you need to learn HTML. So it's a foundation language. Okay, actually what you build with HTML, you can build with you can build static pages and also dynamic pages. I already said you, right? A static page is something that with no interactivity. So static pages can be built, and also dynamic pages can be built by HTML. That is possible with the help of JavaScript. When you integrate HTML with JavaScript, you can make a static web page into dynamic web page. Okay, so and what actually HTML can do, see, HTML can uh, HTML can build a text, can build an image, can make a URL. URL something like link, can present video, can present table, can present a button, can present a form. Okay, these are all those things an HTML can do. So what sort of text apart from this, whichever you think. So can anyone share the content which so now I have said that text content can be done possible with HTML, image visual content is possible with HTML, and content with links is possible with HTML. Video visual content, table is for dashboard building, button is for clicking buttons and navigating and showing something, and forms are something like login form, sign up form, and registration forms. Those all forms. So do anyone can any I only remember these type of content. Do you have any content other than this? Can anyone share your thought about any other content other than this one? Guys, just I am asking a question. Other than this, if there is any content which you can suggest, I can add it here. It's text content, image content, content with links, video content, table content, buttons, forms, any other content which you think that can be added here. You can share in chat also. Maybe if you think any content can be added here, I could add it here. Actually, I am thinking this is the content which is okay. Yeah, Harsha.
We can't add page structures here, bro.
Sorry.
Page structures. Page structures.
What do you mean by page structures?
I'm just asking. We can't create that one with help of HTML.
Page layouts. You meant to say layouts?
Yeah, maybe.
Layouts. Yeah, layouts are something that layout is something that which has some predefined text, predefined image placements. Yeah, that would be possible. That's all comes under content only. Yeah, it can be. You can create layouts also with HTML. Yeah. Any other things can be included here? Like I just opened. Well, let me check with Zomato. We do have anything other than this one. Zomato has okay, text content, form content, cards. Okay, these all cards. Okay, it might be enough. Maybe if I think any content can be included here, I can include. Okay, that's all what we can do with the HTML. HTML can do anything. It means that Zomato's requirement is to prepare a website that can show that can make users to order. Swiggy is something like it's business requirement to show the products and get orders. They get orders from users and get delivered. And Abibus is application. Abibus is application where this is actually messaged HTML attributes. Yeah, we will be seeing about that attributes in a while. Okay. So here Abibus, in Abibus, our requirement is to show something in a drop down which where user can select, and if he clicks on search, he would need to see the buses, and he could able to select the seats and all these things. See here, here you could create as Harsha said that this is a predefined layout, right? This layout has lower, upper, and it needs to this is sort of like a layout, and it's possible with HTML. Okay, so you need to show this one, and you need to do this one. All these things. It's a business requirement from Abibus. So different websites has different business requirements, and anytime if you go and see the elements page, every time you would be seeing HTML. So ultimately, whatever the website you take, whatever the business requirement you take, you are ultimately using HTML to build it. Okay, so that is the reason why a front-end developer should have a complete command grip on HTML. So what all the things HTML can do, that all the things you need to be very much clear. Okay, now what are the concepts required for understanding HTML? So there are few concepts which are required to required your understanding by when you work with HTML. Actually, you could see something like tags, elements. I just you just think of like three things only, not apart from that. You don't want to think anything beyond that one. You just understand what is tag, what is an element in a detailed way. Then what is attributes, then what is the structure. This is enough. These three when you understand very in a very clear way about these three topics, that is where you can play with HTML. When you clearly understand about what is tag, what is element, you can play with elements. When you understand with what is an attribute, you can play with it actually. And when you understand the structure, you can easily play with the DOM. When you this is required, the structure. When you are understanding with the structure, you would be focusing on DOM. I will explain that what is DOM actually. So if you understand the structure, you can play with HTML. Okay, you can play with HTML. Now this is the thing which is required for understanding the HTML. Remember, I'm stressing the point. You need to understand the word, the meaning of tags, meaning of elements, and what all this one. And you need to understand what is an attribute and how you are using attribute. And you need to understand the structure. HTML structure is nothing but a DOM. You need to understand DOM. You need to understand attributes. You need to understand what are elements actually. Okay, when you understand these things, you would be very much pretty comfortable with understanding complete part of HTML. So now see, actually, when I try to say you can build the content. Okay, to build the content. So actually, what does content have? Content might have text, content might have image, content might have video, content might be a table, content might be a button, content might be a form. So when you say that form, you need to build a form. Form is something that if you click here, where is login, when you're trying to click login, what you're seeing, enter mobile number, continue, you're seeing some input box and have a referral code. You're seeing something like a referral code, and you're trying to see the login button here. When I try to hit enter my number, see what happens. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm just trying to enter my mobile number and click on login. It would ask me something, and it's a part of logic actually. This is like a sign up form. This is like a login form. Okay, when you say this form, when you say this is a form, when you say, wait a second, just let log in. When you say this is a form, okay, your browser need to understand that this is a form. Okay, your browser need to understand that this is a form actually. Now see, when I hover on this one, hover on particular this one. Okay, this one, you will see this is a container. Okay, inside this container, what you'll have, button, login. Okay, let me open Instagram. Login, there should be a form. You should able to see one form. Yeah, might be this would be a form. Okay, there might be let me give you some example of form, but this is something like modern application which they can be which they can use div, and also they can give custom action for this login. When we click on this login, this will verify the username, entered password, and it will get you into application. But previously, before this one, there is something called form. Here you are seeing something like div, right? Instead of div, you would be seeing something like form element. Maybe I can show you that here. Form HTML. Form HTML. Okay. Okay, when you see this one, right? See here you're seeing something like enter your name, enter your email, enter subscribe, right? See the browser is rendering this one, but here you would see something like a element a tag called form. When you give this form, the when you write something like a form, then it has start tag and end tag. Okay, when you write something like this, the browser will understand that you are trying to create a element which is a form element. See, which is a form element. It is when you are trying to do this one, when you're trying to do this, when you try to write form, then the browser will understand that you are trying to create a form element, and it will make the rendering. It will make the rendering as per form, Actually, when you see something like instead of this form, you can even write div, okay, div. I will say you what is this div and all those things. But when you write something like this is okay. This code is valid only. But the browser doesn't understand actually what type of what is this one actually. You are rendering enter your name, enter your email, and subscribe. When you click on subscribe button, okay, it's okay. You are subscribing to some channel or something. But actually, the browser should be able to understand what actually this one. For that one, we need to specifically give. There are some tags which are specifically do that action. So form tags are used for building form. Likely there are some tags which are table tag table tag. When you see something like table, when you see something like a table, so if you see something table, so when you write something table, it will create a interface, it will create a UI, something like this. And what is this table, what is this caption, what is this th, and then I will explain you all those things. But remember, why I am stressing this point is something. So when you have something elements which have predefined functionality, this form element has predefined functionality and table has predefined functionality. Likely, when you say something like image, to show image, we have something called image img tag. You have something called img tag. So when you write something like img and it has something called attributes, I'll say about what all these attributes. These attributes in this particularly what actually these attributes will do. I'll explain you those things. But understand, there are some elements such some elements which are performing some specific action. So I will give you that example. So what example and type of elements also I will give you. So that is what you need to understand what type of element is required for you. What type of element is required for preparing content. Now see here, you are using form element here. Form element, you are supposed to use form element. If you use any other element which is not a form, that would not work as expected. Okay, that knowledge you need to have. You need to have some knowledge about elements which HTML supports. That HTML elements what all the elements are supported by HTML, that you need to have those knowledge. That knowledge will makes you to develop a correct application. Okay, and how actually elements are created. See, elements HTML uses tags to create an elements. Okay, so here you would be seeing something text element. A text to create a text, we need to use text element. To create an image, we need to use image element. To create a URL, you need to use link element. To create a video, you need to use video element. To create a table, you need to use table element. To create a button, you need to use button element. To create a form, you need to use form element. So what are these elements actually? So elements are something like a building blocks of content. Now think of when you try to create a content on web, you need to use these all elements. Okay, now say me, content is something that it's a collection of elements. Simply we can say that content which you are building, building is a collection of elements. And what sort of elements are present in HTML, that you need to have that knowledge. And to create an element, what you need to use means you need to use tags. And tags are nothing but you would be involving some angular braces, like opening brace and closing brace, and the content would be in between this, as I showed you right here. I showed you something called h1, and this is heading h1. So these are called as a tags, and this element is particularly called as a heading element, and this particular element is called as a paragraph element. Now think of content is something that collection of elements, and elements are created by using tags. Okay, elements are created by using tags. Tags can be anything. It can be h1, it can be paragraph, it can be image tag, it can be table tag, it can be form tag, and depending on our requirement, you need to understand what type of element you need to use there. Okay, so, and generally tags are something like it has angle brace start, then what type of tag it is, what type of element it is, then angle brace close. So this is known as a start tag. And after start tag, you need to write a content. You need to write a content. That content actually showing on the that content would be showed on a browser with actually added markup. Markup is something that the markup which you are wrapping, which you are using here. So you are using markup tag, which is a heading tag, and the content which you are involved, which you wrote here, that would be actually showing as a heading content, because you used a markup tag, heading markup tag actually. Okay, so, and at the end you would be seeing again angle braces close, start and close, but here you would be seeing along with the markup tag, you would be seeing backslash followed by the markup tag. Now this complete syntax is known as a element. Okay, heading element. This complete syntax is known as a heading element, and heading element is created with the help of tags. Start tag, and this is known as a start tag, and this is known as an end tag. That is what I wrote here. You could see HTML uses tags. Example, this is one to create elements. Tags usually come in pairs. That is opening tag and closing tag. In between opening tag and closing tag, you would be writing content. Okay, that content would have that markup which you have applied. Okay, so this is element. So this is element actually in HTML. To understand, to work with, to understand, so how to start your journey with HTML. First thing you need to understand, what is an element. When you understand element and how do you write a element, then there starts your journey of learning, of working with HTML. Okay, the first thing you understand about element. Okay, so now I believe you just got what actually elements are nothing but building blocks of content. Content is nothing but collection of elements. Simple meaning. Content, what does content have? Elements. What are the elements that can be possibly content? It's image element, it's text element, it's link element, it's video element, it's table element, it's button element, it's form element. And these all the elements are supported by HTML. And HTML, how does HTML create the elements? HTML create the elements with the help of tags. Okay, and actually you are seeing something called attributes. After understanding what actually tags and elements, okay, I will end up after explaining this one, and I will continue with the next in the next class. But you just understand what is HTML elements and what is attributes first. Then we shall see next things. Okay, attributes are something that when you see something here, I'm going here. Okay, I'm going here, and when I see here, you have a button called. Okay, maybe I can show you some better example. Okay, okay. Now I click on inspect. Okay, now you see here. Now you just observe this one. Okay, observe this line. Okay, this green line. Okay, here, no worry, don't worry about what is the code which is written here. But I want you to understand what actually attribute is. Okay, now see, I'm trying to edit this one. I'll just try to edit this one. Okay, now see, this just looks like this. This is just looking like this is just looking like this one, right? H1. Where is this one? H1. H1, instead of H1, you are having spam. Okay, this is a heading element. Okay, this is a heading element. Where you go here and you see, I'm going to change it as H1. H1. I'm going to change it as H1. But it's not applying. Okay, let me try for this one. Okay, okay, let it be. Let it for purpose. For intentionally I'm changing this one. Okay, now see, now H1 login with Facebook. Now you are seeing something like H1 tag login with Facebook. Now see, if I add something here, class. Okay, inside this one, this is a normal element. This is a normal element. This is a normal element. But when you try to add something in a start tag, you can add anything. You can add something which are predefined. I will explain you about those things. But when you add something like a class or something like ID or something like href, so these are something like these are called as a attributes. Okay, now you see I added something like h1 class empty strings. Okay, this is known as a attribute. Actually, where you are writing attribute, you are writing attribute in the start tag only. You remember, attributes are defined inside the start tag. And what actually attributes do? Attributes gives additional information about this element. So this is an heading element. You are perfectly correct. This is an heading element. Here you are doing something called class, right? You are giving an extra attribute which would comes under name value pair, that I will explain you when I try to explain you about attributes. But remember, in start tag you would be writing some other thing called whenever you see something like in start tag, you're seeing something class here, you're seeing something class here. Whenever you see something inside start tag, those things are known as attributes. That attributes are nothing but it provides additional information about the particular element. Now see, I'm taking example of class, right? Now I take another example called style. Okay, style is a attribute. Here, see, what I will be doing is I'll be going to change the background color. See, background color, I'll be changing the background color. Just observe this one. Background color red. No, it's not applying. Background color red. Oh, here it got applied. Okay, what I made mistake. Background color red. This is the same thing which I wrote, right? Okay, now see, nothing here. Just observe the thing. Just observe the thing. H1 style. It's not applying. Edit as HTML. H1. Okay, I shall add from here background color. Now see, now here nothing has happened. You have just changed something. H1 inside this H1. Wait again. I want this in one line. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, now this is a normal element. Before you are seeing this is a normal element. Now you have involved one thing called style. So this is actually called as an attribute that provides actually additional information about element. So now what is the additional information which is providing, which this element has? This element has background color of red. Who is providing that information? This particular attribute, style attribute, is providing that information, background color red. Okay, this element got red color because of this attribute. So you gave something attribute called style. Okay, this attribute, what it does, it applies background color red for this element. Okay, simply we can say that these attributes are something that which gives additional abilities or additional information about element. You simply see here, you'll go I wrote some definition here. You just see Where is this one? Attributes are something that, where is this one? Okay, attribute something that it provides additional information about elements. It might be anything, id, class. I wrote here, here I wrote something called here I wrote something called style. It might be id, class, style. It might be href, it might be src. You would be knowing all those things in future, but remember, attributes are something that which gives additional abilities or additional information for a html for an html element. So that you need to remember. So the core concepts which you need to understand is, one thing is elements. Next, after elements, you need to understand about attributes. The attributes are something that which provides additional abilities or additional information for an element, and also something like called structure. Structure is something that whenever you try to open this see the elements, every time in all web pages, what are the web pages you're seeing? You're seeing something called doc type HTML. Doc type HTML, and here also you're seeing something doc type HTML, and whatever the thing you will see, what are the web application you see, you will be seeing something like HTML, doc type HTML. So what does it what does it mean means? So it means that when a HTML page has some defined structure, you need to follow. Whenever you start working with HTML, you need to follow some universal standards. In that standard, the first thing, whenever you create a HTML page, you need to start it with doc type HTML if you are using HTML5 version. That I will be saying you tomorrow in tomorrow class. I'll be making you to understand how to write, how to create a HTML file, and how do you write HTML file. But for now, you understand. So this is a this is a syntax which this is a structure which you need to follow actually. So here you see, first thing you will be seeing doc type HTML, because this web page is using HTML5 version. Okay, I will give you an example why you need to mention HTML5 version. And so what happens if you don't mention this doc type HTML? If you don't mention this doc type HTML, what happens means it won't use HTML5 version. It won't have the abilities of HTML5 version. So what I will give you the impacts of what why if you don't write this one, what happens, that I will be discussing in second class, tomorrow class. But understand, this is if your web page is using HTML5 version, first thing you need to do is you need to write doc type HTML. Then after that, you are seeing something like HTML tag, HTML start tag, and HTML end tag. Then after that, inside that HTML end tag, you will be seeing head start tag and head end tag. And inside, then after, you are seeing body start tag and body end tag. Everywhere, wherever you see doc type HTML, then HTML start tag, HTML end tag, then inside HTML end tag, you will be seeing head tag, then after body tag. Here also, wherever you go, you will be seeing something. This is a standard structure of writing a HTML page. You need to write first doc type HTML if your web page uses HTML5 version. Then after that one, you need to write HTML. You need to start the HTML tag, then end the HTML tag. Then after that, in between HTML start tag and end tag, you need to write head tag and head start tag and end tag, and body start tag and end tag. And all the content which you are seeing on the browser, this browser has some content, right? That content goes into body, and content which is not actually the content which you are not seeing, but this has some content that is used by search engines. Search engines are nothing but Google, Yahoo. So you will be seeing something like Google, right? Google, for example, if you see something like Google, okay, I'm opening Google, right? Now see, when I click something, food, online delivery apps, Bangalore. Now if you see something like, you're getting something Jepto, you're getting Swiggy, then after you're getting Blinkit, Zomato. So how Google knows about these websites? These websites are related to online delivery apps. How Google knows about this one? So Google knows about this one when you mention something, when they mention the information which is required for Google or search engines to be mentioned inside head. So just simple logic, simple thing. Inside body, the content which you are seeing on the browser, that content goes into body. Then the content which is required for Google search engines, like for to show these results like this, whenever you search something, that would be going into head. So the content required for search engines will be going into head. The content required for users would be going into body. So this is the standard structure of HTML page which you need to follow and which you need to understand. Okay. this is enough for this class. I would stop here. But there are many more things. If we dig deeper, we will be going into deeper. But for now, we'll be stopping here, and we'll stop here, and just revise the things which we have discussed, and just understand the things. Try to understand from tomorrow. Maybe I'll start with actual explaining you the things about how do you create a HTML file, and how do you write how do you how do you prepare the structure, and how do you use elements, how do you use attributes, and I'll be giving you the complete information how the attribute would look like. All those things I would be explaining in the next class. Okay, that's all for this session. Maybe if you have any doubts, or if you have anything to ask, you can stay back, or else you can leave the session, you can leave the class. Tomorrow we shall continue with maybe this is all basics which is required for understanding working with HTML. That's why I spent some time to make you understand what is an element, and what is attributes, and what is structure. Because you should not ask me again like what is this. You should not wonder why this is using, why this is not using. So that's why I just explained you the concept first. Then we shall go in practicing from tomorrow, might be, if this gets completed. So that's all for this session. If you have any doubts to ask, you can stay back and ask me, or else you can leave the session. Tomorrow we'll meet. Okay. And one more thing, I heard someone, do I need to continue in English or Telugu? So if everyone are from Telugu, I'll be continuing the class in Telugu, or else particularly if you want to hear in English only, then I'll continue with English. So just share your thoughts in chat, or unmute yourself and say, because some guys are just want the sessions to be in Telugu. That's why I just asking. Just let me know in chat box. So if you want me to continue in English, or if you want me to transition to Telugu. English, fine, nice. Okay, anything is fine. Okay, got it. Okay, fine. So I hope you are understanding the things. Maybe if you got anywhere stuck, or you got anywhere not understanding the concepts, you can personally message me, and also you can message me in group. I would be happy to answer your queries, answer your questions. Maybe you just try to understand the things. Maybe we are going somewhat slow, but once after the basics are completed, in I said you right, level 1, level 2, level 3. When you complete level 1, level 2, level 3 would be somewhat faster, because there you will be you got some initial knowledge, right? Then we will go somewhat faster. Okay, now this is required. This is the required thing which you need to understand. That's why I'm spending some time here. Okay, any doubts, guys? What is different between tags and attributes? Yeah, I'll let you know tomorrow. Maybe Jalaja, I'll be letting you know tomorrow between tags and elements, because I just gave you some initial knowledge about tags, elements, attribute structure. We'll be discussing more about tags, more about attributes in tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, here you can see something like attributes, right? We'll be doing something like attributes like this, and tags are separate. I'll let you know. No worries. Yeah. Any doubts other than that? Come on, share you. If you have any, guys, let me know, guys. Let me know the doubts. I believe if everyone is silent, I can leave the session. Maybe tomorrow we shall meet.